Just a hopefully quick reaction video to a video by Bella the Happy Loser. Really a poor video. I kind of wish people wouldn't express opinions that are just made out of such mush, out of nothing. Yeah, capital punishment. And then Fake Sagan made it these comments. Well, I'll read his comments real quick. Capital punishment is objectively no different from murder. The difference is only semantic, like the difference between war and terrorism. When a state does it, it's war. When a private citizen does it, it's terrorism. When the state does it, it's capital punishment. When a private citizens do it, it's murder. Are any of these activities objectively wrong? Of course not. All animals kill in one way or another. Even war is not unique to the human species. I've seen ant colonies do it, red versus black. What bothers me about war and capital punishment is that they take the magic out of killing. Murder should be a special moment between two individuals, like a lovemaking. To commit state-sanctioned murder on a mass scale takes the intimacy out of it and cheapens the act. Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know what kind of human beings you are, but I think for most human beings, that's not the answer. They don't want to fix things by intimately involving themselves in killing of another thing. But there's principles and there's just facts of life. It is just idiotic to go to these extremes. I mean, not all war is wrong. I mean, obviously war to stop crime is justifiable. There's objective truth somewhere in here. Somebody's taking, somebody's preventing the taking. These can be defined. Obviously, as our cultures have evolved, the mission statement has become very, very clouded. It was always just a game between kings and emperors and all that stuff. So yes, all these past wars were pretty insidious. But some of them were for valid causes like liberty and freedom and, getting rid of the monarch. Those very good pitchfork wars, revolutions that were valid and needed to be done and could be justified as a sensible and rational defense of a better future. Longer term gain for a short term pain. So look, all right, capital punishment. Yeah, okay, the idea of killing them, whatever. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I'm against it if we're going to do it sloppy. All right, if the standard for who gets killed is, the nuances of who got a better jury and what kind of games the lawyers played and all that kind of crap, well then forget it. But there's cases where we know the bastard did it. All right, there's certain cases, and if somebody's willing to put their name on the piece of paper, the death warrant, all right, with the promise that if they're wrong, they will go to prison, that they will pay a price for being wrong, then I'm going to feel okay about it. If somebody's willing to stake their reputation, their life, on the decision, well, that's going to mean a little bit more. And in those cases, we should be able to do what needs to get done. And there's there's two reasons. One, that there's probably is some deterrent effect to have some higher crime, not to be able to go to some prison that isn't a dungeon anymore. It's not a torture chamber. A lot of prisons are pretty country clubbish. And I know that even gets a complex issue because it is rather insidious that we have these different standards of prison. Depending on which prison you go to, you're going to have a very different experience, and that's bullshit. There should be a consistent treatment that they get at all prisons. There shouldn't be any differences. Certainly different kinds of criminals should be treated differently, and maybe that's how prisons should be set up. They should put all the murderers in one prison and all the car thieves in another and all the whatever. Do it by some other standard than mixing them all up based on where they live. Who cares where they live? And if they're going to be in prison for 10 years, they don't need to do it in their hometown. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Look, when you're talking about, I just don't understand this empathy for the life of some scumbag who, rapes, tortures, and kills a 14-year-old girl or something. Why tortures? Why? These people are guilty of torture. They're just not guilty of killing somebody. Many of these serial killers tortured their victims. I mean, there's no reason to have any empathy for that life. That is a broken motherfucker. And it's just like a rabid dog or anything else. You wouldn't just sit there and say, well, let's just put it in a cage and let's feed it and let's take care of it and let it take its natural course somehow. Why? Why would you do that? No, you just get the job done. You do what had to get done. And there's obviously, I don't think there's any reason to do it in any kind of malicious way, and we're definitely progressing. So even that argument's kind of bogus to bring up hanging and electric chairs, because most people now are killed by more humane methods. And it gets a little complicated killing people, but yeah, we should do it better and we should do it more efficiently. But we really have taken a lot of the bloody revenge part out of it. So I think it's kind of silly to sit there and use that as an argument or a point of argumentation. It's just nonsense. We're progressing in how we do this, but the point is that it should be acknowledged that this is severe human brokenness. This is objectively wrong to, kidnap somebody, torture them, rape them, and murder them. That's objectively fucking wrong. And we can impose a fucking severe penalty for it, not only for its deterrent effect, but as some gesture to the goddamn victims. All right, I mean, the victims deserve something here. They deserve some acknowledgement, some ability to say, okay, at least the system will take care of this. First, it'll apply justice, and it'll not give this person anything more than it deserves, because it is broken. It doesn't deserve to be in an environment where it enjoys one more moment of life. It doesn't deserve any moment of enjoyment. Because it took everything away from somebody else. It took everything. It took all their joy. It took everything. And it ruined the people left behind. What the hell is that? I mean, fuck those people. Okay, I'm not saying torture them. I'm not saying... But even if that worked, if that was a deterrent, if torture was a fucking deterrent to the next motherfucker who might do something like that, then I would say it would still be justified. Alright, because that's really the game. The game is preventing the fucking crime. And you don't prevent the crime by having empathy for the criminal. I mean, that's just bullshit. You have to be... If somebody's too broken to respect other people's rights, why should you have any respect for their humanity or their rights? It doesn't make any sense. They should get what they were willing to give. They gave society no respect. They gave the other human beings in the society no respect. Why should either one of those? Why should we as individuals, or why should we as a society have any respect for them? I mean, it's just bullshit. And like I said, if you're going to get purely intellectual about this argument, the fact is that you can acknowledge and recognize the motherfucker is broken. All right, and there's no point in letting it waste any more electricity. There's no point in letting it waste another mouthful of food. All right, you just put it out of its misery. You put it out of our misery. All right, and you do it, without any kind of vengeance, and that's fine. But I can't. It's unsettling and repulsive to talk as if we need to have empathy for the crazy motherfucker who can't even figure out the ABCs of living a decent or human life. I mean, who insults our humanity by behaving in a manner that is just so depraved and disgusting. To be that grotesquely selfish and arrogant, to think that they have a right to steal from somebody else to feed themselves. I mean, fuck you, fuck that bullshit. There's nothing wrong with capital punishment if it's done right. And I'll concede that the way we do it now isn't right. But don't try to make the argument that because we're doing it wrong, it can't be done right. All right? All it's about is acknowledging that something's fucking broken and dealing with it. And the best way to deal with it is just humanely put it in the parts drawer. Okay? Recycle the fucking piece of shit. Enough said.